Hey, what's up, guys? Just wanted to say a few things first before I get into this video. This is going to be a let's talk about video. But first, I just want to say a few things. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that left a comment on the last video, donated, anything like that. You guys have choked me up a few times with the comments and donations. I'm floored. I have been able to pay for gas and all that stuff relating to the appointments, my phone bill, stuff like that. I can't thank you guys enough. Absolutely incredible. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I figured I should make a new video, and I decided to pull out a discography that I completed, and a little while back I completed it. And yeah, I cannot begin to say what this band did for me when it came to getting into black metal. I'm going to tell the story real quick. I'm talking about the Norwegian black metal band Immortal, and how they are kind of responsible for me being the black metal fan I am today. For those of you in the US that, or maybe North America, I don't know if they have this company in Canada, but there was a satellite TV service called Dish Network. Still exists, don't have them anymore. But back in the day, we did, this is like in the early 2000s, and there was the CD channels, they were called, and they would just play music, and there was the metal CD channel. And I remember one night in like 2004, maybe 2005, I can't remember. No, I was in middle school. Or just getting into high school. Can't remember specifically. But I remember I heard the very end one night when I flipped it over at like 10:30, the very end of Black and Mighty Raven Dark. And when I say that, I heard like the blast beat section right before, and then the clean guitar, then the organ, and the Black and Mighty Raven Dark shit hit, and I was like, what the fuck did I just hear? And I like lost my mind, and I ran over to the dial-up computer that we had with Windows 98 on it, waited 40 minutes to find any info I could about these guys, and I fell in love with them the moment I could actually check out more of them. And yeah, so big thank you to Immortal, like genuinely, for helping me become the black metal fan I am today. This music is done a lot for me in many ways. So we're gonna start things off with a recent pressing from a couple years ago, I want to say, of the demos from Immortal. This is called The Northern Uppers of Death. Very cool to finally have a physical of these. I had the digital since I was in like fucking high school, so it was very cool to finally own a physical of this. Memory serves correct, I got this, I think, from Hell's Headbangers. But God, yeah, this is awesome. Side Death, Side Black. Side Death, it's basically Immortal kind of continuing what Old Funeral is doing. That's really about it. Like, maybe with like a more serious tone, I would say, than Old Funeral. Old Funeral is definitely like very juvenile at points, but this is kind of like a more mature Old Funeral. Not the best death metal I've heard, but once when they switch it over on Side Black to the, I believe it was the 7-inch, self-titled, holy shit. This is the beginning of Immortal. If you like the Bathory influence sound of the debut, these demos on Side B are definitely where it's at. Get a little booklet. Well, not little, it's pretty fucking big. One of my favorite pieces of art in like music history, period. Just tons of photos, stuff like that, legendary shit. Absolutely incredible. Also get a poster. Oh, download card, which I'm not showing you guys. Hype sticker. And the record itself is on white. moving along, that leads us to their debut album from memory serves correct. I want to see if there's a date, year on this. Moving on to 92. So I thought Diabolical, Fullmoon, Mysticism, debut full length. So it's really hard for me to rank these guys, but I have a series in mind that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to elaborate on that in another video, where I'm going to rank the first 5 records of bands. Depending on the day you ask me, this might be my favorite Immortal record, depending on the day. Obviously, Battles in the North will probably have the most nostalgia for me, but there's something about this one that always just grabbed me. I love the kind of outside-the-box thinking on the drumming. It's not typical of what black metal would become later at all. It's, in many ways, it kind of reminds me of like the rhythmic Graveland sort of style of drumming, which I'm a huge Graveland fan. But it's definitely more, it's easier to follow, I would say, than Graveland for sure, drum-wise. This is just incredible stuff. A lot of Bathory worship on here. My favorite song, called The Winter Moon, is fucking incredible. A Perfect Vision of the Rising Northland is probably my favorite track on this. This is just a masterpiece front to back. Immortal is definitely, like, they were onto something with this first album, and they knew it. I mean, yeah, Cornball pictures and shit like that aside. Oh yeah, this is like a 2017 reissue on red vinyl. Got this for Christmas years ago. Yeah, this is just an incredible album and a very, very standout record in terms of the discography, because you don't really hear this particular sound really ever return. This is kind of the one and only times you hear it, and that's probably because Armageddon, this is his final appearance as drummer. But moving along, you want to talk about a completely different album. The second album, holy hell. Of course, I'm talking about the legendary Pure Holocaust. Dude. This thing is crazy fast. Grim, I believe was, yeah, Eric. I believe his stage name was Grim. What an insane fucking drummer. Rest in peace. The blasts on this thing are out of this world. I cannot fathom how somebody in, like, 93 was like, yeah, let's just blast at, like, some of the most insane tempos still I've heard. They're borderline revenge tempos at points on this album. This is just a face ripper and a half. Immortal was not fucking around with this. The speed on this album is just insanity. And there's something I need to address too. A lot of people, it's kind of like the make or break thing for Immortal, which is the, like, Abbott vocals, which is kind of like a croak. I like them. And it's probably because of, once again, nostalgia. Nowadays, if I was to hear it, I don't know if I would be as big on it. But also in defense of, like, the more croaky vocals, if you like De Mysteriis, Attila Shahar does that quite a bit throughout the album, which I'm a big fan of. And of course, there's Inquisition, who is very frog-like. So, Headquisition. I mean, oops. Anyways, this is on a Smoke Vinyl, 2017 reissue. Absolutely love this album. There isn't a bad track. There isn't, like, a standout track. This is just an album you throw on front to back, and you're like, okay, tear my absolute fucking face off, and it will. Crazy, crazy good stuff. Next up is actually a bootleg I have in my collection that, I'll just go over super quick. The only reason I have it in this spot is it's... Let me just double check something. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. Okay, so this is kind of... Alright. Okay, alright. It makes sense. It makes sense then. Alright, so this was recorded in 94. This is Immortal Kings of the Raven Realm. Reek of Death, bootleg, and there's a few funny things I want to point out. This was recorded Live in Holland, May 27th, 1994. Gonna put this out. This is like the Damned in Black, Sons of Northern Darkness era lineup of Immortal, which is from like 2000s. Fucking goofy. And speaking of goofy, hilarious album cover. Great set, but it's kind of hard to make anything out because it's so raw. I had no idea it was gonna be that like shitty sounding when I bought this. But I mean, it's a bootleg. What the fuck do you expect? Obviously they were very tight. It's just, yeah, can't really make much out with that one. Moving along though in the discography to the third record. This is, yeah, nostalgia-wise, my favorite. Battles in the North. This album embodies, like, when people talk about, like, cold black metal and cold tones and stuff like that. This might be one of the most frigid records I've ever heard in my life, period. There's something about the clean guitar tone on this record in particular that just seems so out of this world cold. Like, this genuinely is winter personified as a record. This is like a storm as a record. Absolutely incredible. Lashker Mighty Raven Dark, the song Changed My Life, has to be my favorite song off this album, but that doesn't mean all the other ones aren't incredible. And what's crazy to me, actually, is Abbott did the drums on this album, and they're surprisingly good, considering he's not like a drummer primarily. He gets up to pretty fucking fast tempos on, like, both kick and, like, blasts. It's very impressive, I gotta say. But yeah, this is a great album. I do have to say, though, with the drums, they are a little bit sloppy, but that sloppiness is kind of the charm. Then we got the most marble-looking marble record I've ever seen. This looks like a countertop that I would like to have, to quote my friend. Shout out Lucas. Yeah, I don't know. This album's just perfect in my eyes. I have nothing bad to say about it whatsoever in the utter slightest, and I encourage you to check it out if for whatever reason you haven't, if it's because of the goofy ass cover art or whatever reason. Put aside your notions. Check this out. Moving along to the fourth record in the Immortal discography, and the final one with Demaz for a very, very long time. Blizzard Beasts. Good God. Another incredible fucking album. It's so hard for me to pick a favorite. I mean, the song Nebula Raven's Winter is one of my favorites. I love the vocal effect that's put on that track. Really fucking sick stuff. One of the only Immortal records I have that's not gatefold. This is a reissue from, I want to say, 2015. This was like one of the first Immortal records I ever got. Black vinyl. Of course, the Osmos oddly cut printed inner, which pretty cool. This album, as I said, like, Battles in the North is kind of like a Blizzard. This Blizzard Beast is a just Blizzard on vinyl, like the most intense Blizzard you've ever been in your life. One of the ones where if you're driving, you're going like 2 miles per hour, you still can't see like 3 inches in front of you. Shout out upstate New York. Yeah. That's what this record is. In fact, when storms like that happen and I'm driving, you bet your ass I'm throwing this on. It's perfect for that. This is just Blistering Cold, the debut of Horg on drums with that goofy-ass face. I love this cover. It's just classically corny. Incredible stuff. Incredible album. Check out Blizzard Beasts. And then we get on to album number 5. And this is a big shift. Demonaz, unfortunately, had to quit Immortal because he developed a tendinitis so bad that he could no longer play guitar at the speeds required for Immortal. But based off my knowledge, he still was kind of a member in spirit for a long time with like lyric writing and themes and stuff like that. So this is just Abbott and Horg, and this is At the Heart of Winter. Many people say this is their favorite Immortal record. Not I. I always wanted to love this album, especially when I first got into them when I was in like middle and high school, because that album cover is just fucking sick. Like, that's an incredible, incredible album cover. I don't really care for this one. It has a lot of German thrash influence, which I definitely love German thrash way more than the American shit. But this, I don't know, it's not what I like Immortal for. It gets into more melodic territories. The songs become more expansive. I don't know, it's just not really my thing. If I'm going to listen to Immortal, I'm going to be honest. And I feel like this sound was improved upon later, which I'll get into in a second. Gatefold, and this is on a really interesting vinyl color, actually. I haven't looked at this in a bit. Hard to explain that one, but yeah. The production value went way the fuck up compared to Blizzard Beast. This is extremely, extremely clean. This is definitely like entry level black metal if like terrible production like scares you away for whatever reason. I mean, this is definitely one that like won't scare away like somebody who's already initiated into like metal. So it's a pretty safe middle of the road album. I guess that safety is kind of something I don't really enjoy. But whatever. Album 6, this one I feel like is probably their most underrated, if you ask me. Because for years I never really gave this album much of a fair chance until I got the vinyl of it for Christmas one year. And it absolutely is so much better than I remembered. I can't begin to explain how blown away I was by how good it was, which I can't believe I'm saying about this album. Damned in Black. I really like this album quite a bit, and I can't really justify it, other than I feel like the songwriting kind of leans a little bit more towards the older era of the band. And, just really solid fucking songs. Really solid. I find them to be pretty catchy, and honestly, this is probably my favorite of this era of Immortal for the most part. Maybe second favorite when I really think about it. But this is just a great, great album. I can't recommend this enough. Black vinyl. I mean, if the terrible album art kind of scares you away like I did, and this kind of makes you dismiss it, don't. Terrible art, terrible cover, great album. I believe there was like a deluxe edition that had alternate artwork that was way better, like significantly, infinitely better type shit. But moving along, this album was like the one that was it was the newest when I got into the band. Sons of Northern Darkness. My God. This album I'm pretty nostalgic for. I mean, One by One, Tyrants, obviously great songs. Straight up, I feel like most of the songs really blend into each other, except the final track, Beyond the North Waves. One of my favorite Immortal songs, period, and I think it's super, super underrated and kind of criminal that people don't really talk about that song. But amazing track. Solid album overall if you're into this era of Immortal. I mean, this might be the best one. Great songwriting. Just, I don't know. The old stuff is where will forever be for me. 2LP, black vinyl, but this has an etching on the back, which I thought was pretty cool. Alright, so that's kind of like the first run of Immortal, and then there was like a shorter lived second run, but I kind of consider it part of that era, which is All Shall Fall, aka Abbott Crabwalks. It's just okay. It's just an okay record. I like it more than like At the Heart of Winter, that's for damn sure, but it's Not really my favorite. Oh, there's my hype sticker. I'm gonna put that in here, and yeah, you get a weird sheet with that photo. Yeah, I don't know. It's good, but it's not what I like Immortal for. It really isn't. The songwriting on this one, it felt, I don't want to say uninspired, because there's definitely really good moments that definitely feel inspired, but overall, it's just kind of a weak record in my mind. I'm not the biggest fan of this one, but I will forever remember being so insanely excited for this when it was announced, and being like, alright, this is cool, and as I've gotten older, I don't know. But then there was a big old dispute between Horg and Abbott and Demonaz and over the Immortal name, and Demonaz got surgery on his tendonitis shit, and he got better, and then he proved that Immortal, the spirit of Immortal, was always Demonaz. And wow, this is crazy tight. In my sleeve, what in the hell happened here? We're talking about Immortal Northern Chaos Gods, and give me a second, what the fuck? That was stupid. Anyways, Northern Chaos Gods, this kind of continues where, like, Blizzard Beasts left off, and it's honestly really good. It's really good. Really good. Probably my most smooth brain take I ever had in my life was I always thought Abbott was Immortal, and nah, it was Demonaz the whole time. The whole time I was an absolute fucking moron. I haven't played this in a while, but I really enjoy this album immensely. Horg, Demonaz, just monstrous album. Absolutely monstrous. As I said, if you like the first 4 Immortal, it's very much the spirit of that. In the extremely fast, rip your face off. Oh yeah, white vinyl. Extremely fast, rip your face off type of black metal. I mean, and the vocals, if you don't like Abbott's, you might like Demonaz's. His are much more like traditional black metal, like high-pitched screams, which if you ever listen to the solo Demonaz record that came out many years ago, you got to hear his vocals, and they were actually impressively good, I thought. But we have one more record. And finally, in 2023, Demonaz released another one, War Against All. Wow. This continues where Northern Chaos Gods left off, which continued where Blizzard Beasts left off, and this is just another great fucking classic sounding Immortal record. Huge fan of this. Production, of course, is clean. But the spirit is exactly the same as the early stuff. This is just incredibly good. If you haven't gave this a full chance, definitely do so. I feel like it was pretty slept on, and I feel like that's definitely a shame considering how good of a fucking record this is. You get a lyric sheet with a Demonaz on the other side. Horg is not on drums on this record. I looked into it, and it was some dude that's my age from Norway, so I'm sure he was fucking stoked to be part of this. Shout out to that guy. Proud of you. And also, blue vinyl. Very cool. And yeah, that's gonna be about it. Immortal discography, my thoughts on Immortal, all that sort of good stuff. One of my favorite bands in Norwegian black metal and black metal history. I think that I feel like they get memed on too much and their music isn't taken as seriously as it should be just because of their overly goofy appearance. But also keep in mind too, there's kind of like a character, so to speak, behind it, which is they're like the guardians of the realm of Blashker, which is where Mighty Raven Dark is. It's this like evil overlord, and they're kind of like warriors for that realm, or guardians or whatever, which is why they have like the battle paint, as they call it. But yeah, Immortal's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Give them a chance if you never have. Please do. They're just absolutely awesome. And if you guys feel like donating to help out with my bills and shit like that, since I had brain surgery and can't really do much, I'm still in a good amount of pain, but making a video I figured would help pass time. If you feel like donating, link will be down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for the meaningful comments. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video.